Hi everyone, welcome back to the US CPA classes for business analysis and reporting examination. So we are continuing with our chapter 1, that is business analysis. In this particular video, I'll be walking you through in detail about non-financial and non-GAAP measurement of performance. So that is a subtopic under the main topic, which is current period oblique historical analysis, including the data. So let's dive into to understand more in detail about non-financial and non-GAAP measure of performance. Next topic, which is 2.1.2, non-financial and non-GAAP measure of performance. Right? So non-financials mean
not forming part of financial statements or not a financial data.
not a financial data, I would say, right? And these can be considered in the MDA, but you're right, not part of core financial statement. Second is non-GAAP. So these are two different terms. One is non-financial. The second is non-GAAP measure of performance. So like the debtor turnover ratio, inventory turnover ratio, or maybe you can say the estimations for the calculations, right? Or mortality ratio, or maybe inflation rate, or maybe deflation rate. Those all are being considered as a non-GAAP measures, right? Economic conditions, right? So these all comes under the non-GAAP measure in which you are using the number, but they are not required as per GAAP, right? So first we will understand non-financial and non-GAAP, which is generally accepted accounting principle measure of performance of alternative metrics that organizations use to evaluate and communicate their performance beyond the traditional financial indicator. So these are what? Alternative metrics for evaluation of the performance at the various different parameter than the financial statement, right? These measures provide additional insight into various aspects of the company's operation, strategies, and sustainability, right? So some of them are like this. First, we are discussing about non-financial measure. Then second, we'll discuss about non-GAAP measure. So first, we are discussing non-financial measure. So non-financial measure include key performance indicator, right? Any idea what is key performance indicator? Pranshi, Vartika, Kashish?
But it's basically include customer satisfaction.
No, what I'm saying, what is key performance indicator? Yeah, Ayush, Akash, any idea?
Key performance indicator basically
सर
we
बेसिकली यही होता है कि इसमें how they
if
will impact the financial statement or financial performance of the company. So what are the important indicators that we have to keep in mind while considering for a non-financial measure?
so like
No.
key performance indicators like जैसे अगर बहुत छोटे लेवल पे लो if not at financial statement level like suppose we as an employee have key performance indicators that how our performance would be measured in जब when we
What
have
are the measures of
bonus.
indicating our key performance? So, like for a company, what would actually be their key performance areas? Like they have to in terms of whether they are able to reach their customers, whether they are able to market well the new products if they are launching any in the market, and how well it is doing on the financial front. That the key performance indicators for a business. So that's what.
Yeah. Anyone else? Arya, Manish? Yeah, Akash, you're also saying something.
सर मैं यही कह रहा था आई वाज टेकिंग एट नॉट एट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन लेवल मैं की परफॉर्मेंस इंडिकेटर समझा रहा था
Hmm.
सो लाइक फॉर एम्प्लॉइज Like me as an employee, I am given certain tasks. So organization or my senior would evaluate my key performance indicators, that how am I performing in those particular areas, how is my performance in dealing with other team members, and how is my work being done, how good it is. So key performance indicator basically means uh, it is basically evaluating the performance of anyone, like it can be for a company, for an
But
employee,
basically, we can call it as metrics of the particular
right?
metrics ही
Yeah.
बोल सकते हैं sir.
Yeah. So, like in an organization, there are maybe like you were saying, Ayush, Akash, and Kashyap, there are many employees. So each employee might be working in different vertical. For example, like in any organization, there may be a separate department for sales, separate department for marketing, separate department for costing, separate for inventory, separate for purchases, separate for payroll management, separate for treasury management, right? So each individual might be having different tasks, right? According to their different job profiles. So management might have defined key performance indicator on a to the different job profiles, right? So that can be considered as a key performance indicator. On the other side, from the organization perspective also, there are certain key performance indicator. If you see nowadays, how is your presence in the social media? That is also being considered as a key performance indicator, like how many followers you have, how many subscribers you have, how many people like, how many people engage on your social media platform, right? Earlier it was not there, right? If you are into D2C business, like how many traffic is coming into your website, that is also very important. How much level of engagement you have with your client, how much level of engagement you have with your vendor, how much level of engagement you have with your new potential clients, how much level of engagement you have with your employees, right? How much your employees are being satisfied working with you, how much customers are being happy to availing your product and services. So these can be like various categories of performance indicator for the various responsibilities, both inside the organization from the employee perspective, but outside the organization as an organization perspective also. These are very important. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So key performance indicator, these are non-financial metrics that help organization assess their progress towards a specific business objective. KPI can include the customer satisfaction score, employee engagement level, website traffic, social media engagement metrics. These measures are valuable because they provide insight into the areas that may indirectly impact the financial statement, right?
Yes.
Second is environmental, social, and governance metrics. This is very important nowadays. Have you heard about UN Sustainable Development Goals by any chance?
No, sir.
So maybe like after this class, go back and check. There are 17 UN Sustainable Development Goal which across the globe each country need to follow. And India is being very much focused on all those 17 goals. And internally, we have come up with the environmental, social, and governance metrics as well, for which the company need to be rated, right? So this is being a buzzword nowadays from last couple of years, and now you won't believe it, there are specific auditor for ESG. So there's a specific degree, same way like CPAs or chartered accountant, there is ESG auditor certification. And now, if you see in India, the Institute of Chartered Accountant, they have come up with the social auditor certification also, right? Because like many organizations, they do impact on the social life, and how positively and negatively they are impacting the social lives of the individuals like they do the social audit for the same. ESG is environmental, social, and governance metrics, and these also being have a specific or separate auditor, ESG auditor, right? And now, company need to report on ESG, especially the company who are listed in SEC stock exchange. They have to give the reporting on their responsibility toward the ESG, about the environmental, about the social impact, about the governance metrics, right? So ESG metrics assess the company's performance in the area related to sustainability and responsible business practice. So two things from the organization side: sustainability and responsible business practice. They cover environmental factor like carbon emission, water usage, social factor such as employee diversity, inclusiveness, labor practice, and the governance factor including board of composition and ethical behavior, right? So when you do ESG audit, or when the ESG is being required to be reported, you might be reporting like how much social, like do you remember CSR? Do you know what is CSR is?
Yes, sir.
Corporate social responsibility. What is that?
So when a company, basically company is taking all the resources from the environment, so what it gives back to the environment in terms of doing welfare for the people and the society as a whole, like spending on it, that is a company's social economic responsibility.
Yeah.
Or
So yeah,
And so
yeah,
certain percentage also being contributed, like
mm,
companies have to contribute at least 4% of their revenues to the CSR
2%,
activity.
2%.
2%, 2%.
Mhm. Yeah. So it's being mandatory for the large accelerator to invest at least 2% of their profit into the CSR activity, right? So in the CSR activity, what all things they do? They do various initiatives for the corporate, social, environmental support, or giving back to the society. That may include like upliftment of the education, supporting to the underprivileged student, right? It may be, you can say, plantation of trees, or it can be, like providing support to the health cares, right? So the various things could be possible under the CSR activities. So those all comes and support by providing the company's support, financial support to the respective, you can say, uh, economically required people. It can be for the sanitization, it can be for the healthcare, it can be for the cleaning drive, or it can be for the, you can say, tree plantation, or it can be for the teaching of the underprivileged students, right? So environmental social governance metrics for an organization. So company need to report what all impact, positive or negative impact, they have made on the environmental, on the social, and the governance part of it. So environment, for example, the big factories, right? How much pollution they create. So there are specific laws which they need to follow for ensuring the minimization of the pollution created by such organization. For that, they have to purchase or procure the specific equipment so that the pollution level come down. And they have to do a carbon audit, carbon emission audit. Have you heard this term before? Carbon emission?
Yes,
Hmm?
yes.
What is that? Any idea?
so CO2 being released in the environment, we are
Hmm.
that is damaging the environment. We are trying to curb that those emissions. There have been through this Paris Agreement and all that has been done also with regard to the environment. The focus is on reducing the carbon emissions.
Yeah, very true. So focus is to reducing the carbon emission because carbon is impacting the overall environment of the earth, right? It is increasing the pollution, reducing the oxygen, increasing, you can say, the temperature, which has resulted into meltdown of the glaciers, and it's overall imbalancing the, you can say, environment of our mother earth, right? So the carbon emission, or there are some company who, you can say, waste the water as well. If you see printing industry, dyeing industry, they use lot of water, right, for the coloring, and then after it may result into lot of wastage of water. And some of the industry, they release their chemical into the water, which may be like rivers, canals, or maybe like ocean, right? How much it is being impacting to the environment, they need to audit for that, right? And there are specific law that they need to follow, that they cannot, you can say, they cannot release such amount of carbon or such amount of pollution, either for the air pollution, water pollution, or the earth pollution, right? So those all things come under the environmental, social, and governance. One thing is what you have, what you should not be doing it, or what is impacting the overall environment and the social. Second thing is how you can improvise them, right? Improvise them maybe by using the new machineries, which will result into low carbon outreach, right? Low, you can say, water, you can say, usage, or low water usage for the chemicals, or low water pollution, or low earth pollution. So what are measures you have taken to reduce the pollution? One side is environmental, second side is social. So what is the positive impact you are making to the society, or what is the negative impact your organization is making to the society? If you see, like in the mines, it is very difficult and very hard to work, right? Have you ever seen in any movie or any places coal mine, gold mine, or maybe phosphorus mines, or any such metal mine? Have you seen, maybe in movie or somewhere in practical life?
Sir, KGF.
What is KGF?
अरे सर गोल्ड माइंस थी ना केजीएफ अपना रॉकी भाई
रॉकी भाई
yes, 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 yes. Right. So if you have seen, like in those movies which you might have seen, the laborers, is into really difficult position when they do extraction from the mines, right? It has like negative impact on the life of those laborers. So those all things are comes under the social factor and employee factors, right? In addition to that, now from last couple of years, diversity and inclusiveness also you might have seen like a lot of impact, or lot of actions that organization are taking. Specifically, if I say about Big Four, they have like a lot of internal mandate to bring more and more diversity in the overall organization at each level, right? So those all things comes under the social impact. Governance side, it's more of like your board of directors, your corporate governance, your internal audit teams, right? And your compensation committee, your whistleblower policies, how good we are in those, in managing and maintaining. So those all things comes under the environmental, social, and governance metrics, right? So you understand high level what comes in environmental, what comes in social, and what comes in governance. So now let's quickly go through this theory. So ESG metrics assess the company's performance in the area related to the sustainability and the responsible business practices. They cover environmental factor like carbon emission, water usage, social factor such as employee diversity and labor practice, and the governance factor including board composition and ethical behavior. ESG reporting has become increasingly important for the stakeholder interested in the company for long-term sustainability. The company who look for long-term sustainability, they have to follow the ESG, right? Any doubts so far on the second point? This is new topic. It was not there in earlier FAR or BC. This is new topic, came in BAR.
Okay.
Third one is customer satisfaction and loyalty. What do you mean by customer satisfaction?
Whether we are able to satisfy our customer through the products and services which we are providing, and most probably after sales services is also important for customer satisfaction. And better the customer satisfaction, better the loyalty of the customer, if they are able to what they want from the company and their issues are being resolved by the company.
Yeah. Anyone else would like to add? Kashish, Vartika, Manish, Pranshi. No response. Kashish, Vartika, what is customer satisfaction according to you? Oh my God.
Sir,
No
it is one of
response.
the sir, it is one of the core principle of Amazon principles.
Yeah. Very true, very true.
Customer
Yeah.
obsession.
So why we go again and again for any purchases to Amazon.com? Right? The main reason is customer satisfaction, right? They ensure what customer is looking for. They provide such kind of, you can say, ads, such kind of promotion, such kind of products upfront, right? And when you buy, they ensure it is being timely delivered at your place, right? So all the user experience, both in terms of selecting the product, in terms of making the payments, in terms of delivery, and in terms of after sales services, right? So entire end-to-end chain, they have been given a thorough focus on the customer satisfaction, right? Same way, if you see, there are two companies like in India. One is Pizza Hut, one is Domino's. Where would you prefer to dine out, to sit and eat pizza?
But Domino's,
Domino's. How about others? Akash, Ayush.
क्या पूछा सर?
Sir,
We
what's
missed
the
it.
question?
We missed it.
I say there are two company who make pizzas. One is Domino's and one is Pizza Hut, right?
Okay.
So, which outlet you would love to sit for dining? Pizza Hut or Domino's?
So
Pizza.
Pizza Hut.
Why?
Because the customer focus of both these companies was totally different.
Hmm.
Domino's was totally primarily focused on delivering experience, like how quickly can they deliver their product, while Pizza Hut was more focused on the dine-in experience. So
Hmm.
when you see the outlets of both Pizza Hut and Domino's, you will see generally Pizza Hut has bigger dine-in areas
Hmm.
compared to Domino's. They just have a chair or a table or
Hmm.
two maximum because they are more focused on delivery. That's
Yes.
the major differentiator. Though now Pizza Hut has gone out of the market,
Hmm.
but otherwise in their peak times, this was the major differentiator between both the companies.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Right. So both the company have different perspective to provide different satisfaction to the customer. The people who are being looking for taking pizza for dining out, they join Pizza Hut, and the customer who are being interested in having pizza at home, they prefer Domino's. Right? Have you heard about loyalties,
yes sir,
customer loyalty?
sir वो basically loyalty points होते हैं.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
one is loyalty point. Second is, you know, why customer get loyal to any particular product or services.
Sir, like customers generally are loyal to Apple products. Like
Mm-hmm.
if someone purchases an iPhone, he will generally purchase iPhone again. It's because of the experience they are offering, and also customers develop a sense of association to the brand, like Nike. They feel like these brands are premium brands, and not recalling a word, but yes, feel associated to a particular brand, so that's why they tend to remain loyal to a particular brand.
Yeah, very true. And the same thing, maybe, like when you go for dine out, so you might have experienced dining out at the various restaurant and hotel, but there may be one or two hotel where you used to go more frequently, right? Because their taste matches to your palates,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So you are being more loyal toward that particular dine out place, right? So the loyalty point is one thing, that encourage you to invest time and again on the same thing. But the other thing is the customer loyalty for any particular product or services, right? So the customer satisfaction and loyalty. So metrics like net promoter score, customer satisfaction score help in gauging how satisfied customer are with the company's product and services. And high customer satisfaction often leads to repeat business and positive word of mouth. I'm sure each one of you might be using Ola and Uber,
Right, sir.
right?
Yes.
So every time when you take a ride, there is immediately pop-up come for what?
OTP.
नहीं, next right.
अच्छा.
No. The feedback,
हाँ हाँ.
right? And the
Feedback.
rating. Feedback and rating, right? So these brands are very conscious about the quality. So they immediately ask you how was your ride and how much you will rate to the riders, right? So that they can eliminate those riders who are not giving good customer experiences, right?
Right.
So that comes under the customer satisfaction. Next is like, for example, I've been to Chennai, and there I was booking the cab from Ola or Uber, but it is being booked, but driver then call you and ask you how much cash you will pay to me. And if you pay more than what is being in Ola and Uber, then only they come, otherwise they will not come.
ये सर दिल्ली में भी होता है कहीं कहीं पे ना. They ask you whether you will make payment in cash or through online.
More than the
अच्छा.
amount वाली बात
Okay,
बोल
okay,
रहा हूँ.
okay, okay.
Yeah, but in Chennai, almost every ride I have same experience. Right. So next is employee engagement. So how you are engaging your employee to make sure your employees are being motivated and committed toward the work. So what all employee engagement activity your organization do?
भाई वो सिर्फ फन फ्राइडे कर लेते हैं वो. उसमें बर्थडे
Fun
से
Friday, birthdays, Fun Fridays, or
दिवाली, होली,
Diwali, Holi, what else?
इंडिपेंडेंस डे पे. और आउटडोर वो ले जाते हैं जैसे वो होता है ना फॉर एक ले जाते हैं. एक्सकर्जन्स होती हैं वो सब तो होती है. There they play games and all so that all the employees from departments can interact with each other. So
They do internal trainings,
internal trainings.
right? Your manager and team member one-on-one, good or bad conversation.
ये सर ये तो
Your PMDP, your success factor, right? Franchi, Vartika, Kashish, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So employee engagement is also being focus area, right? So employee engagement survey, I'm sure like they might be doing some surveys from you, how satisfied you are with the organization.
सर हमारे में
And
तो डेली क्वेश्चन रेज होता है Amazon कनेक्शंस के नाम से ना. So they are asking different questions की vertically भी how satisfied are you with your manager, job, मतलब सारे क्वेश्चन सर डेली एक रेज होता है.
and they
And
ask you
this
it's
is also a part
anonymous.
of the manager metrics.
Yeah, and they ask you it is a anonymous response.
Yes, sir, anonymous response.
But someone knows like who is doing all things.
Yes. But sir, in the end, managers know how much, the team is scoring and everything. So this is also a part of metrics of the manager.
Yeah. So those all are considered under the employee engagement. So employee engagement survey metrics assess how committed and motivated employee are within the organization. And higher employee engagement is often associated with increase in productivity and lower turnover rates. Right. Next is quality metrics. Quality metrics in manufacturing and service industry, non-financial measure related to product and service quality, such as defect rate, customer complaint, warranties, right? Warranty claims can be crucial indicator for the performance. For example, any car manufacturing company, how much warranty claims are coming compared to the other industry. If you are getting more than the industry, that means there is some problem in your product which you need to correct, right? Market share. This is non-financial metrics indicate the portion of market a company control and its competitive position. So for example, in automobile market, if I say in US, the major player is like General Motors, FCA, which is Fiat Chrysler, and then is one more company, BMW, Hyundai, Nissan. So they are like major players. So they may have respective market share in the entire automotive industry, right? So you need to represent what is the market share you are holding for the overall industry, right? If you are really a large accelerating filers, right? So these all are kind of non-financial measure of performance. Now we are switching to the second part of the question topic, which is non-GAAP measure of performance. So first we understand non-financial. Now we are understanding financial but non-GAAP, right? Your adjusted earning, your EBITDA, your free cash flow, your non-GAAP revenue measure, your bookings, right? Those all things comes under the non-GAAP measure, even though they have certain financial, but has nothing relating to the GAAP. First one is adjusted earning. So adjusted earning, company sometimes report adjusted earning figure that exclude certain one-time charges like gains or non-operating expenses. These adjustments aim to provide clear picture of ongoing business performance by removing unusual or non-recurring items. So adjusting earnings means during the year if there is any unusual activity. So unusual activity may be disposal of any plant, right? It may be any earthquake, hurricanes, flood, right? Or it may be any sale of major capital asset which has resulted into a big capital gain. So to normalize your earning, you exclude those items so that you can see in the normal way how much is the growth of the organization. So adjusted earning is plugging out all the unusual activity which is non-recurring activity and understand in the normal routine how much is the earnings or the profit and loss of the organization. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Second is EBITDA, earning before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. So what is EBITDA is earning before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. EBITDA is a non-GAAP financial metric. If you see in the financial statement, there is never be an EBITDA which you need to disclose, right? But on the other hand, if you see in all MIS reported, all in discussion of the investor, all discussion with the lenders, EBITDA is the key performance indicator most of the time, right? So it's not required as per GAAP, so hence it's a non-GAAP item, but it is a very important item, right? EBITDA is a non-GAAP financial metric used to assess the company operating performance by excluding interest. So operating performance means your sales minus cost of goods sold minus any other operational expense will give you EBITDA. It does not include your interest expense. It does not include your depreciation, amortization expense, and it does not include your taxes, right? So it is just before that. That means just after the operational activity. So it gives you like operating cash flow, or you can say operating income identification. EBITDA is a non-GAAP financial metric used to assess the company's operating performance by excluding interest, taxes, non-cash expenses like depreciation and amortization, and it provides the measures of profitability before accounting for financial and tax consideration. Right? Third one is free cash flow. How much cash is being freely available to you, right? So that is called free cash flow. Free cash flow is a non-GAAP measure again that indicate the company's ability to generate the cash after covering capital expenditure. Capital expenditure are property, plant, equipments, or intangible assets, right? It often used to assess the company's financial flexibility and ability to reinvest in its business or return of the capital to the shareholder. What is free cash flow? That is unrestricted cash, basically. Make sense? Why it is important measure? Because it will reflect the flexibility and ability of the organization to reinvest in its business or return the capital to the shareholder. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fourth is non-GAAP revenue measures. So non-GAAP revenue measures, sometimes company report non-GAAP revenue figure to highlight the performance of their core operation, excluding the impact of certain accounting adjustment. So non-GAAP revenue measures, what it could be? Any idea? Any idea what can be the non-GAAP revenue measures?
Sir, intercompany sales, I think. Interdepartment.
Yeah, no, I don't think that will come in this. So non-GAAP earnings, one-time profit or cost of the company that are required to disclose. Non-GAAP revenue, it can be like the cash which you have received, advance you have received, and you can say like I have already received the advance for the future order to indicate your better performance, right? So here it's not showing any example, but what I understand from my experience is certain revenue which you have received as like advance revenue, but like for example, like like certain company who are going for fundraising or for any loans or for any you can say uh, uh, for lending of any money. So what they do, they can say like I have this committed order in my hand, even though they are not in a position to recognize the revenue, but that can be shown as like the future revenue which is in the pipeline or is a committed revenue to bring the investment or to bring the loan or to get the lending of the money. So that can also be considered as a non-GAAP revenue measure which the company might be using for the lending of the money or for the raising of the funds, right? Fifth one is booking and backlogs. So in industry like software or manufacturing company may report bookings of the new order, backlogs, that is order in pipeline, as a non-GAAP metrics to provide insight into the future revenue potential. Like for example, Make My Trip, or maybe any airlines, or maybe any hotel industry, right? How many tickets they have already sold for the future flights, right? That can also be considered as a non-GAAP measurement of performance, right? Make sense? Kashish,
Yes,
Vartika,
sir.
Ayush, right?
Yes.
So it is important to note that while non-financial and non-GAAP measures can provide valuable insight, they can also be subject to manipulation and misrepresentation. So that's the risk over there. As such, organizations should be transparent in their reporting and provide a clear explanation how these measures are calculated and what they represent. Additional indicator: shareholders should also consider both traditional financial metrics and non-financial indicator when they are assessing the company performance and sustainability, right? So this is all about non-financial and non-GAAP measure of performance, which include non-financial measure include key performance indicator, environmental, social and governance metrics, customer satisfaction and loyalty, employee engagement, quality metrics, market share. Non-GAAP measures include adjusted earnings, EBITDA, free cash flow, non-GAAP revenue, and booking and backlogs, right? So there may be a risk that the company can do a misrepresentation of the facts, right? Any doubts so far?
No, sir.
Okay, so I think this is it for today's class. So I'll be sharing these notes with you after this, just after this class. Tomorrow we'll be starting with the managerial and cost accounting, because this is altogether new and different topic. So we'll be starting this tomorrow.
Okay, sir. ये सर कल
Right?
ही का managerial cost accounting.
I think this will take some time because it has a lot of things like marginal costing, activity costing, product costing, standard costing. There's so many costing concepts. We'll see like how much time will it take, but I'm estimating it may take more than one class.